Oh, Overwatch. How I loved I've sunk countless hours into this game ever since I was about 13 or 14. I'm 20 now, and all I have to say is, wow, this game is a mess. Don't get me wrong, it's a fun game to hop on for a few games here and there, but I've recently been playing it a lot less because I've realized I'm genuinely much happier when I'm not playing it. And that's for multiple reasons. Reasons which I'll explain fully in depth in their own segments in this video because I want to kind of analyze where everything went wrong. This game had potential, but they just threw everything at the wall and made a giant mess hoping it would sell well. And in a generation where a lot of people accept slop, they got away with it for so long. Practically 2 years to be exact, but that run has recently come to an end. I'll break down exactly what went wrong in a minute, but first I'm gonna ask you to subscribe, as I want to keep making content like this that isn't only entertaining, but informative too. We're nearing that 1k sub milestone, and it'd be super cool if we could reach it early into 2025. Now, let's talk about the downfall of Overwatch. I said the title of the video. To fully understand where everything went wrong, we need to go back to 2019, when all of the reveals were coming out and the first cinematic released. Everyone was super excited. I mean, this looked like a completely different game compared to the original Overwatch, with a bunch of new functions, new maps, new heroes, new game modes, and an entirely new concept, a PvE campaign. I think we all know where this is going. The game comes out and there's no PvE. Okay, no problem. It just got a little bit delayed. Better late than never, right? Games take time to make, and it's totally understandable. Also, I'm forgetting to mention one of the biggest changes to the game. You no longer have to pay for it, as Overwatch 2 is completely free to play, opting for a battle pass structure in order to be profitable. Revising the seasonal structure by not only introducing a new balance patch every season, but switching up the theme every 3 months or so. You know, things were looking pretty good early into the game's lifespan, and then it happened. Skip forward a fair few seasons to Invasion. This was the season that the PvE campaign released, adding 3 new paid missions to the game, as well as a 4th free one that everyone could play to check out PvE. You know, just kind of like a taster, like a demo. This 3-pack of missions was around $15, which, when considering the original vision for the campaign was that it would have been a staggered release of 4 sets of 3 missions every other season or so, it isn't an awful price. However, the problem with the campaign is that it was nothing like they advertised it to be. No skill trees, no massive new functions. Honestly, it just felt like a slightly bigger version of the Archives event, which they actually shelved in this game for absolutely no reason whatsoever. They'll say it's because there's lore that they're retconning, but what lore? They laid off the entire narrative team, and now we're left with heroes like Juno, who literally don't fit into the lore at all, being shoehorned into having a relationship with Mei because her mum worked with her. It's just a mess. Talking about a mess, let's talk about the community for a second, because we need to talk about how much going free to play absolutely destroyed the community. Just to be clear, the Overwatch community wasn't always the nicest. Toxic people and complete weirdos were definitely easy to find, but nowadays there's an absolute plethora of them. I'd say about every 1 in 3 games I play, I run into a toxic person because this community is kinda like the snake eating its own tail, feeding on toxicity to justify their own toxicity. Luckily, if you report toxic people, they tend to get penalized pretty quickly, which is great. Yet people that are straight up rage hacking can get off scot-free for a good while because, well, I don't know really. Yeah, it's strange. They're paying millions of dollars every year for their own anti-cheat system that's made and managed in-house, yet it literally does not work. That's the problem with automated systems. If you didn't know, a lot of Blizzard's management and support teams etc. are completely automated. It's a common practice, so I'm not really going to bash them for using automated systems, but these systems are awful and very rarely work. Trying to get a response that actually answers your question is like searching for a needle in a haystack, and in the end, the needle gets given to you by someone who actually works on the support team. But this could take up to 48 hours. So in a game that's not exactly what it was advertised as and has essentially become a cesspool for the least likable people, I'm allowed to say this, look at the amount of videos on Overwatch I have on this channel, is there any fun to be had? In all honesty, yes, but it's very hard to come by. Stuff like the arcade modes and the workshop have become the saving grace of the game because the original formula has kind of had its time and served its purpose of being a contender to Team Fortress 2. now being replaced by Marvel Rivals for a lot of people. This isn't me saying Rivals has killed Overwatch, but it's definitely responsible for the lower player numbers because, you know, it's new and shiny and has a lot of stuff going on. Coincidentally, on the day I'm uploading this video, the first official season is dropping, with 4 new heroes, 2 new maps, and really cool battle pass. This is all within the first quarter of the season, as it's rumoured that there will be updates quarterly over the span of 3 months, whilst Overwatch 2 has 2 updates a season. The first half of the release, where there's a new balance patch and stuff like the theme of the season and events are implemented, as well as whatever collab we get. And the second half, where it's generally just a tweak of the balance patch that was implemented in the first half, because they meddled with numbers too much and destroyed the meta. Again. Unfortunately, that's the thing with Overwatch. It will constantly just go in circles trying to better itself, and in all honesty, it will get better, but only for a few months until it all comes crashing down again when they make another dumb change. This is ultimately what's causing the downfall. It's not other games or anything like that, it's this cycle that the game is constantly going through, bettering itself ultimately just to fuck it up again a season later by adding 5 new skins for KarQ and balancing things horribly to quote-unquote switch up the meta so it isn't boring. It's a shame because I've grown up with this game, starting off as a filthy casual who would just play with friends and have a fun time, then eventually getting more and more into it, taking an interest in the pro scene and Overwatch League, stuff like that, the more competitive side of the game. It's just sad, really. This game I once loved has become a husk of its former self purely due to poor management and balancing, prioritizing profit over product, causing the game to gradually plateau to the lowest number the game's ever seen. Not particularly increasing, but not particularly decreasing either. Anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video as it lets me know that you've enjoyed it and want to see more. Let me know what your current stance on Overwatch is in the comments. I feel like a lot of you will generally agree with me on most of the things I said in this video, but I'm still interested to hear what you guys think. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure you check out some of my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.